I wanted to talk about an incident in my life that has greatly impacted me. It's been really tough. I actually lost my dad last August, so August 22nd, 2014, and it has been really, really difficult, and I do feel alone at times, and now I know that I'm not the only one, so if anybody else is going through this, I just want you to know that you're not alone if you have lost a loved one. So to start my story, I want to tell you guys a little bit about my dad. He was the Hindi news anchor at TV Asia for about 20 years, and he was my absolute best friend. Now, one thing that people don't really know is that my dad is actually the one that taught me how to put on makeup at first, because he used it for the camera all the time. So that's something that nobody would really expect, but that's a fun memory for me. And ever since I was born, his life literally revolved around me. And I'm so grateful for that because he was my backbone. We were literally attached at the hip. Everywhere you would go, you would see my dad and I. I mean, my mom used to work at night, so it was always just my dad and I. He was basically like a mother and a father to me, and just took care of everything I needed. Even stuff that like my mom was supposed to take care of, it would always be my dad. So my dad left TV Asia in 2012, and he was unemployed for about 2 years before he decided, after some family drama and things like that, that he was going to make a move and invest in a business. And that business was in Kentucky. It was about a 10-hour drive, but he did find a really good deal that he was really confident in, so within a week he, signed some papers, packed his bags, and moved to Kentucky. Now, his plan was to move to Kentucky for about 6 months to a year and just kind of get used to the whole business thing, get everything set, so that within a year he could come back home to New Jersey and kind of run the business from over here. Unfortunately, my dad was only there for a few months before he passed away. So he wasn't feeling well the night before he passed away. His employees were saying that he was red in the face and he forgot to take his heart medication. So he left work early to go take that at his apartment. And he got home perfectly fine, everything was normal, and he passed away in his sleep. No, the next day, his employees were waiting for him at work, at the store, and he would not answer his phone. And I also tried calling him like I did every single day. As soon as I woke up, the first thing I would do was talk to my dad, and he wasn't answering his phone. So I figured, you know what, maybe he's just, at the lawyer's office getting some paperwork signed or, doing something important. So I texted him, and usually I would get a text from him saying, hey, I'm caught up with something right now, let me call you back as soon as I'm done, or give me a few minutes or something. But I wasn't getting any texts, and it had been at least 2 or 3 hours that I was trying to contact him. So I was starting to freak out. Now, after his employees called him for hours and hours, they decided to send one of my dad's friends that he had made over there to his apartment to check on him because they figured, something has to be wrong. When his friend got to his apartment, the car was parked outside, but he would not answer the door. And that's when they knew that something was drastically wrong. So they called the local police, who opened the door, and they found him in bed, and where they were saying that he had passed away about 6 to 8 hours ago before they found him. About 45 minutes to an hour later, after they looked at his ID and everything, they sent a local police officer from over here to my house to tell me the bad news. And I was actually just sitting here on my couch watching TV, eating ice cream, and the doorbell rang, and I freaked out. I thought that maybe it was my dad since he was supposed to visit me the week after. And thinking it was him, I kind of opened the door and there was a police officer there, and my worst nightmare came true. So the police officer, asks me, does Ravi Kant live here? I said, yes. I'm like, I've been trying to contact him all day. Like, do you know anything? Like, is everything okay? He's like, can I come in for a second? And that's when I kind of had a feeling that something was drastically wrong. And he goes, I'm sorry to inform you that he's passed away. And at that moment, I just fell to the floor. My heart shattered into a million pieces, and suddenly I just felt so alone. Because everybody knows that my dad was the one person in my life that I was not able to live without, and now I am being forced to live without him. My dad never told us that he had heart problems. He passed away of cardiac arrest, and we had no idea this was coming. I believe that if he did tell us that he was having health issues, he knew that he wouldn't have been able to go to Kentucky, and starting a business was something that he had dreams about for so long, and he didn't want anybody to stop him. Now, I understand where my dad was coming from, but I believe that if he had told at least one person, we could have done something to help him. Now, from the whole process of planning my dad's funeral, to the actual funeral, to going to Kentucky, coming back home, trying to lead life as normal, it's really overwhelming. And one thing that I did realize is that people are complete hypocrites. Now, I don't want to call people out when they were just trying to help, I completely understand. But it does get really overwhelming when you have people coming up to you saying, it's okay to cry, let your emotions out, or don't cry, you have to be strong, or, you're all on your own now, you have to take care of your mom, and then saying, oh, your dad is still with you, don't worry about a thing, you're not alone. So when you just hear all these people say different things, I don't know about anybody else, but it really got to me. I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. There are a lot of people giving us their opinions on, our house, on my dad's property, things like that. And it just got really, really overwhelming to the point where I didn't want anything to do with it. But I knew that I had to be involved because I was the one person who knew what my dad would truly want. And no matter what anybody says, whether they're looking at stuff from a business point of view, from a financial point of view, from, a family point of view, I'm sorry, nobody understood my dad more than I did. And I can say that with complete confidence, and I know my dad's up there watching and agreeing with me. Since I was the only child, and I was closest to my dad, I had to perform the last rites. So that's everything at the funeral home, the actual cremation. I had to be a part of everything. Now, typically in a South Asian family, the son or a male member of the family would kind of take care of all the last rites, but everybody knew that my dad kind of treated me like a daughter and a son, so it was kind of obvious that I would be taking care of everything. Now, this was kind of understood by the entire family, and this is actually when my not so nice kind of side came out, because I sat everybody down and I'm like, listen, if anybody has a problem with me performing the last rites for my father, you don't have to be there. You can be there for my father, but just stay away from me, because I know what I have to do, once again, taking decisions for yourself. And the day of the funeral, at the exact moment that we had to put the casket into the hearse and things like that, I did have some people telling me, wait, Trisha, I think only the guys are supposed to do that. And that really got me angry. I'm like, did I not just explain to you before we left the house for this funeral that my dad treated me like a son and a daughter, so I'm going to be doing this stuff. And I don't care if anybody has a problem with it. So why, right before the actual funeral, would you go and say this? But anyways, I kind of let it go, because at the end of the day, I wasn't going to listen to anybody else. I was going to do what I needed to do. I personally have taken the summer off of school rather than taking classes, because I kind of needed a break and I needed some time to get myself together. Since my dad passed away at the end of August, the semester started beginning of September, and I ended up missing about a week of school. So as soon as I came back, I literally had 1 or 2 days just to get my stuff together, and then I was attending classes for the entire semester. The entire winter, I was pretty much working full-time throughout winter break, and then this past spring semester, I was in school again. So I've never really had that time to kind of get myself together, which is really important, because I believe that mental health is just as important as physical health, especially because I tend to overthink everything, and if I don't have time to think and clear my mind, I will probably end up going insane, and I don't know if that's the case for any of you, but don't think that you constantly have to keep yourself busy. Definitely take that time for yourself if you need to, because it really does help a lot, at least it did in my situation. So if anybody else has lost a loved one and is kind of dealing with what I've been dealing with, the best piece of advice I can give you so far is to just do what's right for you and do what's right for your family. A lot of people are going to give you their opinions, and don't feel obligated to take everybody's opinion. Yes, you can take it into consideration, but it's impossible to listen to everybody, and at the end of the day, nobody knows you better than yourself. So sit down with your family and kind of make these decisions together. Now, my last piece of advice for anybody that's watching this is to please share any medical concerns with loved ones, family, friends, whoever it may be, even if it's just one person, because my dad's life could have been saved if he didn't hide his heart problem for us, and he would still be here with us today, and I wouldn't be making this video. So for anybody that's going through a similar situation, just please don't ever feel like you're alone. I know it does get really lonely sometimes. Like, for me, this house has never felt more empty ever since my dad's left. But I know that I'm not alone, and I'm not the only one going through this. So if you're ever feeling down, just know that there's always somebody for you to talk to, whether it's a friend, a family member, or if you ever feel the need, feel free to email me. My email will be in the down bar. You can email me, message me, whatever. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks again.